Aloha! Welcome to this week's video. So this week's going to be pretty exciting. I'm going to be making a kanabo, or tetsubo. They're about the same thing. I asked my wife. My wife's Japanese. She actually had no idea the difference. But after a little bit of research, it looks like the kanabo is usually a wooden club, and the katsubo or tetsubo is usually a metal club. Either way, it's the same similar style. It's just a big elongated club with a lot of spikes or barbs or some type of pegging on the club head of the club. So I've wanted to make one of these for a while. I just haven't had really a piece thick enough to do so. And so what I decided to use is I have this leftover piece here, which is about a 2 by 1 and a little bit inch piece of loaf or koa, and then I have this really thin piece of koa that I've had for a long time. It was from a resaw I did on one of my larger pieces. It was just a leftover, and I haven't really known what to do with it. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to use it as a veneer to widen this piece here so that I have about a 2 by 2, maybe a little bit thicker. And this will give me a large enough club to shape with. I don't really have other pieces that are quite thick enough, quite long enough to make a good style club, and so that's kind of the direction I decided to take it. So what that means then is I need to cut out some sections here that are about the same size, same dimension. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be shaping it after anyway. This section here though, it's only about 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe a little bit thicker, but it's still really pretty, and so I don't want to throw away necessarily any of those sections that I cut off. I might use them for something else, but I'm for now just going to use those 2 elongated sections for the veneer. This piece here though had some issues with it, so I just wanted to straighten it up just a little bit, get it a little bit cleaner, try to square it off a little bit more, but that's about it. For the most part, I'm just keeping the same general dimension, and then I'm going to be copying that onto here so I can cut it out. I still haven't swapped out my bandsaw. I'm still using the resaw blade, but it actually works out perfect for cutting these long straight cuts, and so it worked out. Maybe on the next piece I'll have to swap it out. So the next step here is I'm going to be gluing these veneer tops. It's not really a veneer. So a veneer is when you have like a really thin, high quality wood or some type of material, and you veneer that, you layer that on top of another material that's less quality, and so that gives the illusion that the entire thing is at really high quality. You veneer the piece. I'm actually not using it for that purpose. The piece that I'm veneering on top of this is really pretty. That's not the main reason. The main reason why I'm doing this is just to thicken the piece. I need a larger piece of koa, and none of my stock was quite large enough for this specific use case. In fact, that's the reason why I haven't made one of these weapons in the past, is it just needs a really big piece of koa wood. And so I just haven't really had the opportunity, so this worked out perfect. So I'm just gluing both sides. I really could use a few more clamps. I should probably buy some more. I don't normally glue items that are this large though, and so that's why I don't really worry about it. But with this piece, I was kind of wishing I had maybe at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 more clamps, but it worked out. I had a couple small gaps on the outer edge because the thinner piece, the veneer, had a little bit of a bow to it, but it's okay. I think I should be able to grind most of it down, and then get to the clean connection points. In comparing the Kanabo to some images that I had, it looked like most of them, I mean, they varied in size and dimension, but it looked like the majority of them, the handle was anywhere between 1/3 to half of the overall length. And so I'm kind of going to keep that similar dimension. So I'm doing a little bit less than 1/3 a little bit more than 1/3 of the piece. So anywhere between 1/3 to a half. I just kind of wanted a dimension that would feel good. And then on all of the pieces, I noticed that the body of the club was usually octagonal, had 8 sides, and then it would taper down to the handle. And I saw a couple handle styles that I really liked. One was a swirl, so the handle did a swirl all the way down. One was like a bulbous, had like the wood was shaped in a way that you had looked like sections of wooden balls that were put together. I don't have a lathe, so it's going to take me forever to make that. For now, I'm just rounding off the handle to make it a little bit easier to hold on to while I begin shaping this front section of the kanabo. I still haven't decided yet if I'm going to put in metal bulbs or if I'm going to use small teeth. I do have a lot of small bull and tiger shark teeth that I haven't used. I've been collecting them for a long time, and I almost never use them because they're so small. I'm thinking I might end up putting them on here. I haven't decided yet. It is kind of a combination piece of both Hawaiian style influences, but heavily reflecting the Japanese club, which is a really cool club. I mean, it's like a baseball bat with bulbs. It's one thing I had to be careful with, though. It's kind of a challenge, is putting in these sides here. The overall piece still had a slight warp to it, and so I needed to both clean out the warp and make sure that each one of those sides was, I'm trying to keep them the same width. So I have, an octagonal shape, and all of them follow the same pattern. I finally got to a point where I started to sand on this main club part, and you can kind of see those thin dark lines. It's a small gaps in the glue up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mix in some of the shavings from this piece with some wood glue. It's just some regular wood glue, and I'm going to be pushing that wood glue into the piece, and then I'll let that sit overnight. This is actually all I have for this video. It's not a very long video. I still have a lot to do. I just didn't have very much time this week to work on it. I'm going to try to get as much as I can done by next week. I'm not confident I'll be able to finish just because there's so much left to do. I have to put in all of the shark teeth, shape up the handle, any other design work I want to put into it. But I'm really excited. This is I've been wanting to make a combination piece, Japanese Hawaiian style combination piece for a long time. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and leave me a like and a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't. Mahalo plenty for everyone that watches my videos, and I will see you next time. Aloha.